Yes, 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 yes. We are back in the building. It is the Me Acting Up Hour brought to you by The Names Are Not Important with Mac and Free Podcast. And right now we're getting it started. I got the one and the only Ken Free Jr., the coach. Can we call you the ball coach on here? Is that already taken? Is that already taken? Can you hear me, Ken? Ken. Oh, must have lost him. Well, let me do a few shout outs while we get started and we wait for the rest of the crew to jump in. Brother Will McKee and Brother D. Uh, we'll hopefully get them on soon so we can get the party started. But as always, I just want to shout out to the viewers. Thank you once again for joining in and the love and watching us every Sunday. And just make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channels. You have uh, the Names Are Not Important channel on uh, YouTube and Facebook. You also can go to Resource Center TV on YouTube to catch the show as well. So we just thank you. We want to give a shout out to uh, the inspiration for this show, the brothers down there in Swag Country, uh, doing the Swack and the Fool podcast. Shout out to those brothers, and they are the inspiration for this. So we just said we got to do something for the MEAC and throw the CIAA in there and mix it all together and just have one powerful hour. So other than that, shout out once again to a great football season as we wind down, and now we prepare for these two great bowl games uh, that are coming up in the next week or 2 weeks as the Celebration Bowl will take place in Atlanta on December 16th at 12 p.m., 12 noon, and that'll be on the ABC networks. And then also, can't forget about the Florida Beach Bowl that will be taking place uh, December 13th at 7:30 p.m. way down there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So shout out to those schools preparing. And we're going to jump right into that. I think while Ken gets his technology together, I think we got the doctor in the building, brother Will McKee. Will Mackey, what's going on, my brother?
Man, good evening, Ben, and to all the MEAC and all of the CIAA populace. What's good this evening? What's good?
Yeah, man. Eh,
All right, my apologies for the. We've got trying to get this technical stuff together. I know Ken's still working on that.
Am I not
Uh,
on?
brother Will McKee, we got you live and center. So yeah, man, what's so? Hey, man, the countdown is on to the Cricket Celebration Bowl taking place in a couple weeks down in the ATL. Man, what are your thoughts, man? Are you excited about the matchup?
I am. Uh, yeah, I think it's a great matchup. I think you've got the both teams, as is often the case in postseason play. Everybody's good at this level when you make it this far. But specifically, you got a hot Howard team that has a huge fan base, a national fan base that is thoroughly excited about being in postseason play at all for the first time in a long time. And I was gonna say since the Willie Jeffries era, but I think they were in the postseason one time since then that you and Ken mentioned last week. Um, but I think between the Howard, and we all know Howard University, when they show up, they really show up in a major way. One of America's pillar institutions, bar none. And then FAMU, you got two schools with deep tradition. FAMU going back to the legendary days of Jake Gaither, and then going up to the Rudy Hubbard era,
SMU.
where they were the first one AA school to win a national championship, was FAMU. They have the very first one AA championship, as you know, and many people may not know. So between Jake Gaither's legendary run to which if you want a comparison, you could look at all of the Florida schools of today: Florida State, Miami, and
Ah,
uh, University of Florida, Florida State, Miami. When you see the talent that they have, just imagine all of that at two schools. And for a
Yeah.
lot of that time, mainly one, Florida A&M, and they ran the table on many a season. And then up to the Rudy Hubbard era, first one AA championship, and now this great era in there. So I'm excited about. I think it's going to be a great celebration bowl.
No doubt. Ken, can you hear? Ah, I don't know what's going on with technology, but true indeed. And you know, I was wondering though, for a minute, the way that rain delay was going down there in Tallahassee, I thought Florida A&M would still be playing right now while we doing the show.
Yeah, yeah, that was
They might have
long.
set the record for the longest delay in college history. I
Yeah.
was like, ESPN said, "Man, we gotta move it to ESPN News. It's taking too long down there." I think they just finished up right before we started the show. Kid, you straight? You can you
Right.
hear us?
man, I don't know what's going on. I guess I shouldn't have bought it off that dude off the street. He said it
You
was a
can't
good.
go to guys groupie grab bag, man. You
He said it
can't
was
go
a
to
good deal. I
groupie
thought
grab
I thought
bag.
$100 was a little suspect, but I said, hey, I'm
It's
all
worth a
about
try,
bargains.
man.
I'm all about
That's,
bargains and deals.
that's right. Fool
Hey,
me once, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
yeah, man.
Hey, so uh William was discussing, his thoughts and excitement
Oh,
about the
I heard him.
Celebration Bowl. So what are your thoughts about Howard and FAMU?
Looking forward to it. I hope MEAC can. I'm MEAC biased, so I'm rooting hard for the Bisons and snooze bowl. I'm rooting hard for the Bisons. I actually think it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be because I tell you one thing when Howard plays good defense, so I think it's gonna be a good game. I know Florida A&M is gonna try to open it up and everything, and it's great, but I think it'll be a very good game. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, MEAC. Let's just hope we make it 3 in a row. You know, so
Thank you for your honesty, Amanda. She said the snooze bowl, but she hating, but she gonna be in the building because that is the place to be. I'm gonna try to be in the building as well, myself, but that's TBD to be determined. Um, but this is what I want. This is what I want to ask. This is what I want to ask, and I know Amanda waiting to weigh in, but uh,
Come on, Amanda. Let's
let
go.
Ken. I'm gonna start with you though. I'm gonna start with you, Ken.
uh
Do the Bison have a legitimate chance against the 11-1 Raptors?
yes. And I'll tell you why. They came on
Tell
strong.
me why. No, stop. Tell me why. No.
You got some time. You need to wash some clothes. Uh, but
I had to get it in
no,
there.
I think no. I look. They are better than what their record. They are much better than what their record indicates. They're much better. So don't let the 6 wins fool you. They are much better team. I think they play for the big games. I mean, they took care of a very good Central team, and like we said with everything, as this past weekend has shown, you got to play the game. You got to show up, and you got to be ready to play. And I think Howard can compete with anybody. I think they can play with anybody. Um, so I'm looking. It's intriguing. It's a very intriguing game because I think too. Florida A&M, don't overlook them. I mean, or look past them. Or I really don't, because I think defensively, I think they can play with anybody. Offensively, we'll
I,
just see.
well,
Um,
I don't think, fam, being that it's an old MEAC rivalry, I don't think they'll overlook them. Maybe I'm wrong. But Key, what are you, what are your thoughts? But Key, do the Bison have a chance?
Yeah, well, you actually said what I was coming around the corner to say as well at the end of what I was going to say. You just put that out there. I'll come back to that at the end of my comments, even still though. But yes, I think the winner of the MEAC, it's been proven no matter the record. If you look at a 6-5 South Carolina State team a few
right,
years back, took on a 11-0 Jackson State University team that was just on fire, hitting its stride, and the strength of schedule was underestimated. Buddy Pugh was well known to take on two and sometimes even three money games. I remember one year they had Clemson, USF, and then topped it off with somebody like somebody else that was a power, well, not necessarily a power five, but a very tough Division I team. So, like Ken said, Howard went up to Northwestern, battled them to a touchdown loss. Played some very tough games this year. So yes, their record is very deceptive. They are peaking at the right time. The
right.
defense is stout. They're going to cause FAMU to have to maybe do some things that they haven't had to do this year, except uh, the one loss they had, which was against. I'm sorry, I drew a blank. Who did they lose to? It was
South Florida.
a major D1.
South Florida.
It was
In a
Florida, yeah.
competitive game. In a competitive game.
Yeah, yeah. They played a competitive game last year against UNC with about 25 players
Yeah.
for a
Oh yeah.
whole 3.5 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're one of those schools that has a deep tradition. If they get good, they are very good because they look down at their jersey and there's just so much history there. But Howard is kind of like Duke University in the sense that they don't feel inferior to anyone. Like, they're another one of those schools. When they're good, they believe they can beat the world too. I'll end by saying I agree. I think Howard definitely has a shot. It's anybody's game on that day because Howard is, like we said, the only thing I'll end with is where being started is that unlike the SWAC teams, that the SWAC has a very deep history in football and record attendance in one AA sports. SWAC leads attendance most years, maybe every year, biggest stadiums. And they used to kind of underestimate the MEAC. They still kind of do,
Mm-hmm.
even taking these L's. So, but to Ben's point, Fam comes out of the MEAC, and Fam knows that Howard, even when Howard is not doing that well, when Fam used to travel to Howard, anything could happen. So I think they'll get Fam's best because they come from the MEAC.
No doubt. And Amanda, I'm gonna say you wrong for that. There is a
What did
higher
Amanda say?
chance. She said 2%. That is a
Uh,
higher chance of
she changed.
rain.
She changed
There-
it.
There's a higher chance of rain than that right there. Hold on, let's see what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I'll take that at
Hold on.
65% spec, different kind of put. Oh, so let's
No,
talk about that right there. That's
hey,
right there.
thank
Amanda.
you for that one, Amanda. That's an alley oop.
Yeah. So she says the swag plays a little softer than the MEAC. Well, let me say this, and y'all can jump in how you feel. Do you feel that is because the MEAC with less teams, they play more money games, maybe a tougher schedule, non-conference that makes them a little more prepared for this game? As that you think that's been to their advantage the
I
past couple years with South
I don't
Carolina State 2 years ago and Central last
I
year?
don't think it's that. I think MEAC football has always been smash your mouth, grinding out football. There are very few. I mean, you had the Jay Walkers that came once in a blue moon. You had the Allen Hookers that came once in a blue moon, but there were really no, outstanding passing quarterbacks that came out of the MEAC. MEAC has always been tough running backs, tough
Right.
defense,
Yeah.
everything. And if you look at who had been exactly, MEAC was way more physical. And you look who had been drafted in the NFL, a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of defensive backs out of the MEAC that had been taken high in the round. So I think the emphasis is just different. I think SWAC is more of let's run, let's flash, let's spread them out, let's throw, let's go. I mean, you look at Doug Williams, for example, who came out of Grambling.
Satellite tot.
And I mean, and that's how it is. They brought, be honest with you, they brought the run and shoot out before anybody knew what the run and shoot was. So I
You
mean,
know, you know.
SWAC SWAC was always wide open football, i.e. Jerry Rice, prolific wide
But
receivers and everything.
well,
So,
let's look at that
but
because SWAC
I
is
think
known
that
for those greats.
yeah, and I think that's the difference. I think Dion and them were shocked, which surprised me. They didn't play Central different the second time. I think the first time Dion and them was shocked with how physical South Carolina State was, and I don't think they were ready for that
Hmm.
smash mouth football. Plus, South Carolina State had an excellent wide receiver out there, a very physical wide receiver at that time. I forgot his name that ate him up. Um, and so it's just different. It's just different football. You could say boring football versus exciting football. I mean,
M-
but I think
McKee, was it? You think that's true? The MEAC is more physical. You played against the MEAC in your career. Is
Yeah.
that true, McKee?
and
Yeah.
played in
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
in the MEAC. I'm sorry, let me say that first. Played
he
in the
played in
MEAC
the
first,
MEAC.
and
Yeah.
then played against the MEAC. So yeah.
Well, yeah. When we played, I was at Winston-Salem State. We went up and played Howard J. Walker's either his junior or senior year. I can't remember. And now that was going from CIAA. We were Division II CIAA, so we were going up. But as y'all said, being at South Carolina State, I knew that kind of ball. But they had four defensive backs at the time. All four of their whole defensive backfield was all MEAC that year. And they had Jay Walker, the Flea, and those guys on offense, which is why they were so good. But I remember a defensive back. He was the left corner, and I ran a curl route. He ran through me and pops up with the ball. And it was I tell Ben we talk about our worst, but yeah. The physicalness is real. Experienced a little bit of that. But I like Amanda's word. The physical nature of the MEAC, as Ken said, I can't do anything but amen what he said on that. Like y'all said, I used to kind of look at the SWAC as the SEC or the 1AA or the HBCU SEC, but it's more like the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
It because of what y'all mentioned, the gunslinger, Coach Archie down there,
Mm-hmm.
the gunslinger, and like y'all said, Coach
Air
Kasem,
McNair. Air
Air
McNair.
McNair, those
Right.
those
Satellite
Alcorn
tot.
Air
Doug Williams. Yeah.
Satellite Titan. Jackson State's coach now was an excellent
Yeah.
passer as well. And then Grambling ran the wing T, but they passed out of it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
even that. So to y'all's point, it's the MEAC is more physical. I just think the deep history of the SWAC and Southern football being more physical, the bigger, known to be bigger in size, kind of makes the SWAC have that menacing reputation. But to y'all's point, when it's come down to how the teams actually played, the SWAC was playing Big 12 basketball on turf years ago,
Mhm.
before a lot of the people that are doing the air raid now. The SWAC was doing it then, to y'all's point.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And like you said, the MEAC had some great blue chip quarterbacks, but all of them had good ground games to go with their arms, which made them lethal. But at A&T, you were gonna get Stony Polite in
yeah.
that ISO play. You just gonna get that. At Howard, you were gonna get Jake Reed coming off tackle when Howard was winning those titles back to back. When you got Suber down at Bethune Cookman, you getting that Wyatt bone on the ground. So yeah, yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I don't want to put y'all on the spot, but that's what we do, and we might as well not wait till we get close. But that means it's prediction time. I mean, we've seen them throughout the season. Let me get my notepad out because I don't want nobody trying to come at me later talking about I ain't say that. I said this. So let's get these predictions out the way. Who's with
Oh,
me? And now let me say this: Is it going to be official with the scores, or are we going without? Let's talk to.
what I got? You go ahead, McKee.
I usually like to go after Ben because
Nah,
I kind of I cheat
look,
off his paper a little bit.
Yeah, I
hey,
hear
look.
you.
I've been over, man. I lost with Virginia State and Morgan State. Man, I'm in a slump.
You
Yeah,
in
but you'll get one big one. You'll get one big one that'll equal all those. So
all right.
Well,
Well, it's to me. I'll
I
go and I'll
go
let
ahead.
McKee since he's so used to, and he was on here longer than me, so I'll go. So it's tough because it's hard. I hate to say it, no disrespect, none whatsoever. I mean, no disrespect intended. I still see Florida A&M as a MEAC. It's hard to get used to saying Florida A&M in the SWAC.
Yeah,
That being said, uh, it's going to be. I think because of that, of what y'all said, y'all made me a believer that Florida A&M is going to know. Hey, we gotta. Being that we came from the MEAC, we know how we got to play, and seeing how they took care of business in the SWAC championship. As much as it pains me to say, I think Florida A&M wins it only because of the history, and I think they win by 7. So I'm picking Florida A&M to
very,
come.
by 7. You got a score? You want to throw a score out there?
Uh, ugh. uh, I think it's gonna be. Uh, I'm going. I, I'm going 31-24.
Okay, that's close to mine. That's close to mine. You want me to go McKee or what? Or what?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Look. Amanda agrees. Look, she said people saying it's the MEAC versus the MEAC Bowl. I'm telling you, it's still tough
It
saying
is. It's
Sam
hard.
is a
It is
swag
hard,
school.
man.
It don't, it
And
like
no disrespect to SWAC and everybody, it's just hard. It's just I still don't see Florida A&M as SWAC
yeah.
yet. Give me a year. Maybe
I
after
need
this
I
game.
need
Maybe
about two
after
or
this
three
game.
more of them things before about 3 more years. McKee, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go, and then you can round us off.
All right, go ahead.
Uh, everybody, yeah. So, well, let me say this too. This one of the purposes of this show was founded in commemoration of former Commissioner Freed, your guy's father, and I still remember the stories. I think I was driving him to pick up about his 70th trophy. He he was getting at one point he was getting like 12 Hall of Fames a
He
year.
was he was
I
with
used to
Tribe
joke
Called
him.
Quest getting them award tours.
He, he was on a award tour, and he when he used to tell that story about how he drove to Tallahassee And when FAMU was not MEAC, we go back on this show. We go back. And he drove to Tallahassee, and they said, I bet you if you drive over to Daytona Beach, because we're going MEAC, I bet you those BCC folks, at that time it was BCC, I believe, they'll come with us. And he jumped in his car and literally manually, not text, no email, that wasn't even out yet, no Zoom, wasn't even. He jumped in the LTD and drove across the state. He drove across the Everglades. The myth has it that he caught one of those hovercrafts over the Everglades and caught a couple gators. They fried them, ate them, did what he had to do. Took a shower in some kind of in Lake Kissimmee, and then went over to Bethune Cookman and signed them, and they're the MEAC. So yeah, for us as a family, it's very hard to see Florida A&M with SWAC on their jerseys. That's just tough. However, having said that, had to give a little history there. I'll say this. I think I would say FAMU edges out Howard, and I would go with a score right around what Dr. Free said. Around, I'm looking at a. But I'm gonna say this before I pass it to you, Ben. I'm gonna say this. It's gonna be a case of who can get who to play their brand of ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Ken mentioned the stout defense. I got to read this. I know this may not be network. Are y'all aware that the SWAC doesn't like FAMU? I just learned about their beef. FAMU is not respected by other SWAC schools. I'm gonna tell you. Look,
Amanda
y'all
starts.
can say. That's right. We can say what we want about Amanda, but I promise y'all, from my sources, she hadn't been wrong yet. I'm not saying that Pro Central, that Rabbit Central zeal that she's supposed to have. That's her place. That's her school. It's a little excessive, but look, there were some comments I saw, not on swacking a fool, but it was a swacking a fool. I can't even say who said it because they're in a high position in the SWAC and they don't need, but they said it on Facebook. When before before the rain delay yesterday, they were putting out on Facebook, "Fam's in trouble. Upset alert." And I'm sitting there like, man, Fam have an extra gear, man. If Prairie View does make they'll kick it in. Musa will do what he has to do, and some number 3 will take it 90. They'll do what they have to do. But they will, to Amanda's point, you could just tell those SWAC folk have not accepted them into the family yet. And the fact that they came in taking names and whooping, that ain't help either. And let me say this before I go, Ben. Look, you could argue that Fam had to go to the SWAC to get to the Celebration Bowl. I'm just saying. Hey,
Black folk.
They have they been in have they been in one yet? Is this the first one?
It's the first year they had to get to the SWAC to get there.
They couldn't do it from the MEAC. They couldn't.
In the SWAC, they already there. That's a good argument. Yeah. I think Amanda agrees. Oh, man, tell them don't block you out. Tell them we gonna come in that chat and set it straight. But so McKee, you going with Fam? You got them by like a touchdown also.
I got them by 10.
Okay.
I got them by 10. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump on. I'm gonna have to jump on the train with you.
Oh, you not go? Come on, Lee Corso.
I think this is Fam's year. I think this is Fam's year.
You're not putting the bison head thing on?
Yeah, right.
Even though I would love to hear that. Duh, duh, da 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 da.
Woo!
But
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
about that.
going,
They're gonna
I'm
be
going
rattling.
with FAMU, and I'm actually going with them by 2 touchdowns.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think
I got fam
Howard
30.
likes being underdog too. I
I
think
know
Howard
they
likes.
do, and I got fam 34-20.
Okay. I
That
got
Now
a
what's
score. That's good. That's good. That's a good one.
I'm 30 because I
yeah,
think both can put up some
I,
points. I know they're gonna put up some points.
but
Yeah.
but 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 you saying the second half reaches a little point where fam
Yeah,
asserts itself and
yeah,
yeah, I can
yeah.
see. Now, y'all know I was the only person
Because
I
it
think
might
on
be
the
one of
ball
them
boy
20
crew.
20 games at halftime, 2020, 2017, and then fam.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep you in it
Hey,
early.
this might be fam's time.
In the spirit
Yeah,
of Nate Newton, this is their year.
yeah. And I was
And
the
they got
one that loved Howard.
right.
I loved Howard
Yeah,
when we were
Howard.
ball boys there.
I
Yeah,
did.
I
Howard.
did,
I
but
know,
I
and I
wasn't good
couldn't
enough
stand.
to play. They didn't. They said I wasn't good enough to play receiver there, which they had a good point. But
Uh,
look, I kind of backed off of them after that. I said, oh, that's messed up.
I will say, and they got another thing to play for to bring pride back to Tallahassee after what happened today. So they bringing pride back to Tallahassee.
Yeah, they were
What
trying to
what
have two
about
national
look,
championships.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
yo,
and now
yeah,
they gonna bring pride back to Tallahassee after it was stolen from them.
okay. Amanda saying it's gonna be close up until the
But she said fan will prevail. So
fan will prevail,
I think
but
we're all
but
agreeing that
also
it's sweet. It's a FAMU sweet. So I know the
oh,
SWAT
and,
guys are loving it.
but to highlight McKee's point. But see, this is the thing, Swag, and I love you, Swag. But can you be mad at them for coming and doing what you supposed to do? Like that just is a sign of, hey, the league, hey, we got a new power in here. We got to step it up.
Right.
Uh, cause I mean they took it to what Jackson State first game of the season or second game of the season. I mean, and they've just gone nonstop. I mean, can you? That's to me like
and
McKee brought up that's more of a reflection on the SWAC than it would be on FAMU for bragging about having to come to the SWAC to do it.
right.
Y'all, I mean, they should take offense then. Say, come on, y'all, we got to step it up. Let's get these alumni dollars and these NILs together to get these kids down.
yeah.
You know?
And no disrespect to my brother, Coach Terrence Graves at Southern, but if that gentleman doesn't take his helmet off in the North Carolina Central Grambling
Yeah,
State Celebration Bowl. And I want that brother to prosper. I hope he is.
yeah,
He's probably very successful now. But if he doesn't take his helmet off after after that touchdown, the
yeah.
SWAC
That
doesn't even have
right.
that year.
Yeah, SWAC
Right.
might be winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see, I believe his brother D Mac in the back. He said he got fam. Let me get the correction. I'm sorry. Correction. He's got him by 17.
Okay.
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 Okay. Bold statement. So look, let me do my time check. Okay. So we're good because I do want to give some time to the other bowl game because we got a bowl game coming up before that, a few days before that. One that's had us questioning a little
What's
bit.
he got in his pocket? What's he putting in his pocket?
In dedication to FAMU, I'm going with my orange FAMU pocket square.
Cause look, cause
Go,
cause cause cause
they strike.
while we were on Tallahassee, Ken was ready to go with another gripe about the
Yeah.
team right across the tracks.
I
But we'll
and,
get into
and
that.
and my
We'll get
gripe
into
is
that.
very simple. I know, but my gripe is very simple. But I think I'm very mad. I got to put it out there, and I hope it brings up viewership or gives us calls. But I'm very, very mad at Joey Galloway. They should take your job off of ESPN too.
Oh man, come on.
And Joey, and I'm a Ohio State guy. Joey
You
was
you
my dude.
turning you
Joey,
turning into
man,
Cleveland A.
I was
Smith,
so
man. Come on,
disappointed in him today.
Cleveland.
He's so disappointed in him. Jay
You
Walker got to go. Now Joey got to go.
you turning into Cleveland A. Smith out here. Hold on, Cliff. But but we gonna come back. We'll give them a little bit
Not
of time.
Cleveland. Cleveland,
Cleveland A. Smith. Look. But we got another bowl game that we gotta shine some light on.
Yes.
And that is the Florida Beach Bowl coming up on Wednesday, December the 13th. Next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Fort Valley State versus
Livingstone. Not
Johnson
Livingstone.
C. Smith.
Johnson C. Smith, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there was still some questions around this game.
Why
I
you
don't know.
laughing?
I don't know if they were answered, but uh, Ken, was that you I talked to in production that
Uh-oh.
that that got some news out of, because one thing we were debating
Yeah.
on the last time was
The money. Yeah.
the money, we'll say it like that,
The
and
money.
the
Yeah.
advantages,
Must be the
uh,
money.
yeah, and the advantages for these schools, because we look at it regionally, economically,
Right.
and we're trying to make sense. So break down what you know, and then we'll take off from there. Because
Well, sources close to the game have reported that we got that the debate, in which I thought we had great discussions about bowl versus playoffs, and I just shout out to Lenore Ryan, because they beat a very tough Benedict team,
come on,
and now
do we have to remind ourselves of that? See,
and then they're in the semifinal though, so you got
Yep.
they're in the semifinals. But
that's why I said we had a good road,
you had a good road, yeah. You had the road to go, but
and we would.
but we argued about playoffs and all that, and then we were questioning about the money. Well, here, and I posed this to the panel. What I found out is each school has been given 2,500 tickets, and out of that they have to sell, and the tickets go for $30 a piece. So out of that they have to sell all the tickets, and from that sale that should get them $5,000.
Let me
And
go on mute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No.
See,
so
I'm sorry. Let me mute my phone, man.
that's
Hold on.
that's
My bad.
$7,500, Ken.
75,000. No, that's
Oh, I hate I did that.
7,500. I mean, yeah, 75,000.
75,000, and
Yeah,
then
I'm
that's it.
sorry, y'all.
But
Seriously.
out of that, they pay for their travel, because each school estimates it's going to be $50,000 to travel and all that. And so that's how they pay for their travel. The only problem is if they do not sell all their tickets, the school has to pay for the balance. So
do
to
the
McKinney's point,
schools even have 35? No.
now the problem I have is the other thing. If you look, and I'm glad McKee brought it up about attendance. These schools that are in this game aren't even in the top 40 for attendance, ranked in the top 40 for attendance for their home game. So my question is, one, can they sell 2,500 tickets? And two, are they gonna have the crowd?
He
Okay,
over,
but that's
he
what
over there.
I want to
Oh,
pose.
see.
Is that worth it? McKee, are you all right, man?
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Mm. You can't you can't plan this stuff. You can't plan it. Oh,
He's all right. It's over the. He's laughing at the fact that the schools have to sell tickets to pay for their way to get to the bowl game.
There's no guaranteed money.
oh,
There's no guaranteed money, so they got to sell tickets in order to pay their way to get to the game.
oh.
That's why. That's why it's funny. It's usually for a bowl game, the teams get money to come to the game.
Stop it. Stop. And listen, let me do the disclaimer because y'all going too far.
I didn't
Y'all
know.
going too. Y'all going too far. The
We got
views,
people
even
that
though
got
I was
questions.
laughing too,
We got
the
people that
views
got
and opinions
questions trying to answer. I'm
expressed.
just answering the question. Why are you
The
coming
views.
to the
No,
question?
no, you all right. You all
Oh,
right.
okay.
I'm talking about
Oh.
me and McKee because we shouldn't be doing it because we need to be uplifted. We need to
No, no. Whose idea was it? That was, I guess that was the. It has
listen.
to be a conference.
And no disrespect to the because we gonna try to pump it up, love it,
Now,
and
have you seen
celebrate
this?
it.
And you've seen the stadium? It's where they play
As
soccer.
yeah, it's a soccer. Yeah, they had the. I
Yeah,
saw it.
and
The press
I think
conference.
it's seats of 8,000 people.
Eight
I
thousand.
think it's I think
So
it's seats
well,
about 8.
well, well. Before you go there, let me just throw this out there. Y'all stop.
I'm not doing it
No, no,
again.
no, no. You fine. You fine. Me and McKee are wrong for this, but I'm laughing at. Hold on.
McKee, talk to me now.
Amanda,
Where's
you
McKee
wrong
go?
too, Amanda. You wrong. Amanda, you are wrong. They ain't
Oh.
gonna have no
McKee,
gas. This take a lot to fill up that bus, man.
come
But
on, McKee. We
this is
only got
what
an hour, McKee.
this I know, but this is what I'm saying. So is it safe to assume
Uh-huh.
that they're probably banking on schools, maybe alumni sales, it may be in that area, and possibly maybe this being a game that the city will embrace and kind of adopt. We see many bowl game, the Citrus Bowl and bowls down in these areas that the community kind of adopts too.
All right. So
Like,
so here's my problem. First of all, when you go to the website, you see why the people got to sell tickets, because it doesn't look as if they have sponsors.
yeah,
I gotta go.
McKee, come on,
Oh,
McKee,
please. Cut
McKee.
my mic
I
off,
don't. I'm
please.
not sure about the band.
No, the bands are going. So here's
The
the
ba-
event. Just so that people will know,
yeah, go
they
through the
do
events.
they do have
Mm.
events. So
They got a 5K. I
they
know they
got a
got a
5K
5K.
run. They got a golf tournament. They got a prayer brunch, whatever the heck that is, and then the coaches lunch, and in the middle of that. But it looks as I'm having a problem.
Mm.
I'm having a problem with, so their sponsors, or they say partners. They don't even say sponsors. They say partners.
Mhm.
Is Amaranth, which I don't know what that is. Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, but they're
Okay.
not getting any money. The stadium, the American Diabetes Association. I don't know what that is. Coach USA, I know, doesn't give money. They don't. I mean, that's why they're partners. Because Coach USA is more about getting people to buy into them. Tropic Gourmet, maybe, but it's apparent they don't have that big money
That
sponsor.
title sponsor. Yeah.
That like the Celebration Bowl has. So my question was last week when I said, do they have enough people that are going to go to the game or show interest to that game uh, to fill that stadium because it's still an 8,000 seat stadium. So, and it's a pretty stadium. It's a nice looking
Very
stadium.
nice. Very
McKee, you all right?
Yeah, I'm back.
nice. But well, talk to us, McKee. What are you, what are
But
your thoughts
quick,
here?
real quick,
Oh,
Ben,
go
real
ahead.
quick, which makes me knowing that that's the commitment makes me understand why Fayetteville State said no, we good, and the other top and Virginia Union, not Virginia, Virginia State, and them said no, we good. So go ahead.
McKee, I want your thoughts on that, and then we gonna circle back while we at it. I want you to think about this too, Bobby. Like, is there really an advantage to this game as well? But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, it's a lot. You got to know Ken and Ben to. It was a lot to that. It wasn't just the issue. It's just how. Yeah, you got to know the way y'all rolled it out. I couldn't take it. Uh, the only thing Ken was, I was like, if he says, then they gonna have to see the guy at the 7-Eleven in Savannah.
And then but I do know they did make
Talk,
arrangements at the microtail, so they will have efficiencies in the room. So the kids, the kids will have efficiencies in the room.
talk to Huggy Lowdow's black manager. So
But
no,
the
man.
This
benefit of
shiggity. No.
yeah, prayer
Can
break.
you believe this shiggity? No, but go ahead, McKee. And that's a great point. The
Oh,
man debate about Virginia State's band. Even though I feel they're the second best band in Division Two behind Benedict College, they were voted the number one band D2, I believe. HBCU
yeah,
band. They'll be
But
in
they will
Atlanta at
not.
the battles of the band. Go ahead, though, McKee. I'm sorry.
They'll be in Atlanta though. They won't be in Florida.
yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Big shout out to Virginia State, and they got a great chancellor up there. They're hosting. They're the only HBCU that will host a Democratic. It's Democrat. No, it's the presidential debate.
Awesome.
Um, so that will cover our university highlight today.
Awesome.
Being in Ken, Virginia State University is hosting a presidential debate right there in that beautiful new athletics complex that they do.
Awesome.
So yeah, it is. So he was on MSNBC talking about it yesterday, the president. So I'll say this real quick since I took up a lot of my time. I was listening as I was getting myself together.
No, you fine.
I'll say this. I think that they I agree with Ken's point. We do need to develop um, bowl games, classics that we can make incredible, just like the Celebration Bowl. It doesn't have to be the playoffs or a bowl. We need both of those. It's great when our top teams could go to a real great payout bowl game. And then that second place team, just like North Carolina Central this year, went playoffing. That's the best of both worlds. I like that. So I'm rooting hard for the Florida Beach Bowl. I would even, like to say if MEAC'n Up could in any way, and I haven't met with y'all on this, so I'm kind of jumping out there. In future years, it'd be great to go down and play our role
Mm-hmm.
in helping to make it, all that it could be. So, rooting hard for the Florida Beach Bowl. Would love to be there, and because I'm happy for Johnson C. Smith, who hasn't had postseason play in a very, very long time. That's got to be incredible for that institution, for those student athletes, for those coaches, for those fans, and then a great Fort Valley State program that is storied, that is one of the SIAC dominant programs over the years. So I'm happy for that bowl. How could you not be? It does look anemic, and I see why. Now I see why they're having the prayer breakfast because it's gonna require some prayer. I mean, that thing might turn into a tent revival. You, you never know, man. Is it Pentecostal? I mean, but I'll say this in close. I think groups like us and groups that care and like the passion that Ken had last week and a few weeks ago on us having sustainability in postseason play. The value of it, because let's just be honest. And I was arguing the playoffs. I still believe in my argument, but his point was powerful in the sense that you can't be where we are and settle on just one thing. You got to be able to leverage something that's homegrown with whatever, because we need options. We need people to know that we're not dependent on that alone because it doesn't pay. We don't have a natural connection with those schools with rivalries because for so long they wouldn't play us. That's not our fault. You couldn't get a game with Youngstown State and some of these folks because of racism and things like that. So yeah, we gotta have the Celebration Bowl. We need the Florida Beach Bowl Classic to be a success. So that's my position on that. In the game, I'd probably go with Fort Valley State because they know more about what this is like. This is new territory for Johnson C. Smith. Would I love for Johnson C. Smith to go down there and shock some people? Yes, because I love that institution. I'm in a consortium with them with international programs for minority students that they've been a great member of over the years. So I have an interest with them. But Fort Valley, as Ben can testify, as Ken knows with his vast knowledge of black college football, Fort Valley State's been doing this thing at a high level for quite some time. So that's going to be a challenge for the Golden Bulls.
Let me piggyback on that too, and just say we and McKee did a great job, and he's right. The biggest thing is about the postseason play and having a chance to extend your season and all that. So I guess I'm looking more of the bowl side of it. Um, I hate because I was wrong. It's a 19,000 seat stadium, and it scares me. In that, if you want to do something, we got to do stuff that's going to sustain and be worth the effort for it, so we can do it for these kids.
Yeah.
And I, I'll be honest with you, and the views of me right now is not a reflection of the show. To put the onus on the school to not even have a title sponsor is ridiculous. The events don't make sense. Um, and I would love to come and help and offer expertise or anything to help, because the goal shouldn't be on we just going to put on a football game and now we're putting pressure on the schools to try to put people in the stands, which schools should be doing anyway. But
Yeah.
but that's easy. But you putting the onus on the schools to pay for their travel and all that. That's just, you got to go out there. These bowls take planning,
Yeah.
and you might be a year or two early before you do it and build success. Your goal is, even though we may disagree or agree on bowl, playoff, whatever, your agree is your deal when you do this bowl, and why the Celebration Bowl is so lucrative is it makes you think, do I go to the playoffs or do I go and get this guaranteed $1 million? And that's what you want, to give these conferences or these teams the choice. So you can have good football. Celebration Bowl, regardless, is going to have good football. And like you said, Central still got a chance to represent and go on.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
As history
well,
story, I don't know how you sell, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know how you sell in South Beach
well. Let me say this.
for us, Fort Valley State and John C. Smith.
Well,
I
I
just
want to say this. And maybe because let's also remember, these commissioners agreed to this. So I
Right.
think the issue lies kind of there because they're not really being, I guess, forthright with what the advantages are. Um, and it just seems like, hey, something popped up. Let's let's jump on this and hopefully we can make it like Celebration Boulevard
Right.
or make it big. But I just think it's tough. Like put the onus all on the schools um, with no guarantees. But maybe there's a plan that we don't know about that might come out later on. But it just puzzles me
Right.
when the conference leadership and the board are not really being upfront with what the advantages are, why this city was chosen, this stadium, just the process with the selections. Who are the people selecting the teams? You know,
Right.
uh, when it comes down to it. But the HBCU Plus network has a channel dedicated to the Florida Beach Bowl, so you can see some of those things if you have the app or anything. But we're winding down time. But Brother D Mac said he want to come in because he's got some questions.
Hey,
We
Ben,
gonna give him, yo, go ahead.
let me get a little bit real quick. I think I'm gonna combine what Amanda said with what Ken said in the sense that she said, "Why not plan?" And Ken said, "Signature sponsor." It would seem to me, borrowing off of that, that the signature sponsor would be landed, then the game
Correct.
takes place.
Right. Right.
Right, as opposed to this is Amanda's terms, not mine. Raggedy, you put a raggedy product out there, and then it becomes harder. It's kind of it might be easier to get a sponsor with the dream
Right.
than the raggedy example, if that's what it turns out to be. Unless we find out that Plies, Slip and Slide, uh, record label, along, and there's a halftime show and an after show of Florida great hip hop R&B acts that bring people that have no knowledge. Kind of like what the CIAA tournament is, because if you could get some people in there that know that there's a party and the football game, I don't know. Maybe you could get Trick Daddy, to
But they
come
are.
out.
But there in the Fort Lauderdale area or in the Florida area, there. For example, and I'm not using this to say it's better or whatever. I'm just using this as an example. So I don't want because to show the ideas that hurt. When Florida, the same people were were wanting the Heritage Bowl, the precursor,
Mm-hmm.
they found a couple of black businesses, and it was actually a conglomerate of black businesses got together, put their money in to quote say, hey, bring the Heritage Bowl to Fort Lauderdale. We're going to get you Joe Robbie Stadium because we've got pool and we can do it. And we're going to guarantee this money for, we're paying for your travel, we're paying for your transportation around the city, we're paying for your
Yep.
hotel.
And they had a local TV contract too.
And they had a local TV contract as well. They had events that made sense. They had a ball. They had like a president's ball. They had a dance. They had a concert. Then they had the other stuff like the golf tournament and all that. But they courted and had money there to say, hey, this is what we want to give you to for you to come to the city. And that's when it was just a Heritage Bowl and it was just an idea and what we're trying to build. And it's
Yeah.
like what you said, McKee. You don't want to go in there and say, hey, we're going to throw this game together, get these teams in, and this is what we're going to do. You got a stadium where it looks like only 12 people are in there. Because you may have, tell them, McKee, you may have 5,000 people, but in a 19,000 seat stadium, it looks horrible. And then who's going to want to sponsor that? Where's my money going? What is it? When I'll be honest with you, you could have rented a stadium in Charlotte and done this game and packed it. You got John C. Smith who's already down there. You got they were serious and say, hey, the money we're making here, we'll fly you in, get us because these schools already have people like Coke contracts, food contracts, everything. Go to these people and say, hey, Coca-Cola, this is what we're gonna do. This stadium, we're gonna fill this stadium. Da 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 da. Let Coca-Cola be a sponsor. Let Pizza Hut be a sponsor. Let Bojangles be a sponsor down in Charlotte. I mean, it's just there are things you can do rather than say, hey, school, we need you to sell 2,500 tickets or you got to eat them. I mean, if I have to eat them, then that means I'm not putting forth the effort to fill it.
Well,
So,
But this sounds like I think we got the makings of a mini series though, especially if the person that drives up to the schools and tells them they have to sell the tickets might be kind of a menacing figure. It's like, hey, look. Hey, all I know is
Suge midnight. Suge midnight.
all right,
Look, well, look. Let me
what
bring
you say,
D on.
kid? Y'all gotta sell. Oh me.
Look at
yeah.
Bojangles Festival sponsor every game in North Carolina.
But
Yes,
that's
they
what I'm saying.
will.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
That's,
go.
but let me.
Tell him real quick, Ben. Tell him what Dad used to do. He used to go to the hotels, Marriott. Hey, we want to
Yeah.
bring this here. What
Yeah.
you gonna do? Marriott be like, cool, because it's at the end of the day, as you said with everything, it's about how much money am I gonna make and what's this benefit? How does this benefit me? People kill for the CIAA tournament because they know how much money it's gonna bring to their city. They know the history. They know what it is. They know what it brings.
And it looks like the city of
And
Philadelphia said we ain't taking
as
no
y'all
loss.
live,
They went LeVar Ball.
yeah, let's just say it won't be if it turns out like what we hope it doesn't. Let's just say there will not be a usher or Ursher that will be looking at. You know how they do at those good concerts when you sitting
Say
in
it
somebody else's seat,
any way you want.
and you feel the flashlight because when the
See
flashlight
that?
comes
See,
on and you see that Ursher
y'all
coming
wrong.
down that aisle, you like, hey,
Y'all
they
wrong for
coming
that.
for us.
Let me bring D. I was
Let,
hoping
Bring D.
y'all
Is D
wrong. I ain't going there. Let me see. As the player hater himself, Buck Nasty.
that's
is that
Buck Nasty.
that's
Hey,
not the
Buck Nasty, you said you look,
Player,
we gonna give you the floor for about
what's
we
oh
gonna give you the
that's
give up
floor for
your
about
pride.
3 minutes. But talk to me, Buck Nasty.
So,
sing it again, D. Sing it again, D.
player hater, take off your jewels. Can't say the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had so much to say, and McKee, I'm with you now. There's going to be a mini series, and I got lost in the sauce as I was listening because the first question I had was, isn't this something they supposed to be doing at the beginning of the year, really before the season starts? So we're talking about spring, like immediate postseason. Isn't this the work? Because when I hear 2,500 tickets, and I see why McKee's laughing now, but that's
I had
not
something
hard
in
to
my throat,
sell.
D. I wasn't laughing. I had
Yeah,
something in my throat.
yeah. We'll go with that. But that's easy. That sounds too easy for any university or college to be able to sell 2,500.
you said it's
Mm.
too easy to sell 2,500
It should be. If it's
Have you
not,
He
I
also
don't
have
he don't know
questions.
our school.
oh that's right.
That,
You went to
that
UNC,
and that's what I'm saying. So it's
UNCT.
when we look at it, like I know a lot of what I heard was it was like, how do you get people to get engaged? Because that's the question. How do you get your alumni? How do you get the base of the folks that live there to get engaged with the program as they see
D,
it? Because again,
D,
2,500 tickets is
D,
not a lot.
you gotta understand. You are asking people that live in North Carolina. Where's Fort Valley?
In
Where's
Fort
Fort
Valley,
Valley?
Georgia.
In Georgia. which is closer. You're asking people in Georgia, North Carolina to pay $30 for a ticket, and then you got to travel to Fort Lauderdale. So you got to pay. You got to make your way down, and then there's 6 days of fun, and ain't nobody gonna. Why is it so loud? What is that echo, man? So loud.
Whatever you listening
I'm
to,
not sure, but
I can't.
my report to that would be
all right, go ahead,
the
D.
Dallas Cowboys get North Carolinians to do it every year. So it ain't that hard, obviously.
North Carolina is
Traveling. He talking about traveling. Hey, D, if you listening on
The
something,
Dallas
you gotta turn it down.
Cowboys.
There's an echo.
Oh, was that me?
Yeah. Are you listening on the
Oh,
phone? Turn that down.
Oh, I don't know why. Hold on a second. I'm not listening on another device. Let me
There's a bad echo
close
when we
it. Close
talk.
these out. Is that better? Is that better now?
man.
You sound fine.
These are the drive-through in Buncombe County.
Man, what?
Hold on a second. I don't know what's going on.
He can't understand the thing. Oh, there. He must did something. Or he gonna have to mute himself when he doesn't talk.
Yeah, that might be it.
But
Yeah, I think you're good. You good now, D. You
you
good.
good
Go
now.
ahead.
But
Go ahead.
no, he ain't good.
It's fine when he talks.
Go ahead.
But see, let me tell the. See, when Kid, Kid is doing that Iraq method. He when he just repeated, amen. When he just repeated, he repeated what D said. I'm sorry, I lost it. You saying it should be easy to sell 2,500 tickets? He said
That's
it back to D.
he said. He said it should be hard to sell 2,500 tickets. And I'm like,
But you said it. You said it right back to him in the same tone that he said it. I couldn't take it.
But with different intentions. I just
Yeah,
want to make
right.
it clear.
Right.
I can't hear D. D.
It's about engagement. Like when I hear
D.
the trepidation, I think like where's the struggle with engagement? Because that's what you have to increase in order to sell 2,500 of anything is the
I
engagement.
agree.
So how do you cross it? Because we're not talking about some brand new innovative product. We're talking about football. It has become viral. It has crossed the chasm. We're not like people love it.
We're not laughing at you, D. We're not laughing at you, D.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'll
I
have a
know, but
banana
I'm just
pudding.
saying. Huh?
I'll have a banana pudding and a brisket.
No, Amanda said your mic sound like Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue's drive through.
Oh man, that's
And a
terrible.
sweet tea. And a sweet tea.
But for some reason, it's when we talk, D. It's not when you speak. It's when we speak.
Yeah, it's some feedback on my end. I'm sorry.
You got
Go
earbuds
ahead.
in
I may have to switch.
That'll be all. That'll be all.
and a sweet tea.
Hey, McKee, they be like, pull up for your total.
But look, go ahead, D. Y'all, we just can't talk because this is giving feedback. Go ahead, D. Though you sound good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna switch my device. Go ahead. I'll be right back.
But he
Well,
brought up. But he
well,
brought
this
up
is the thing.
engagement. He brought up
No,
engagement.
but let me say this, and just to point out, I think Ken, you touched on it earlier. We're looking at two schools, D, that aren't even in the top 40 with regular attendance. So now, when you're looking at traveling to Fort Lauderdale, which is South Florida, if we're not getting the attendance at home, Benedict struggles with home attendance outside of homecoming. It's decent, but even with an 11-0 team regular season, we might struggle to push 2,500 tickets. Um, and that's a real scenario. Now we do
Right.
have some strong alumni in Florida that kind of could make a push and a strong alum, and I'm hoping that's what they're utilizing. But that alone is tough in itself when you're
Here's
even
the other
struggling to
thing,
get
though.
home attendance.
Here's
But
the other
now
thing.
let me also add to this. I think what brought McKee's laughter is very rarely for a bowl game do you see a requirement
Right. Right.
where the only money you make is off of your ticket sales. Usually that comes as a bonus
Correct. You
for
make a
your
percentage.
people to make sure you have an allotment to get your fans there, and that's usually a bonus. This is a deal where you are solely dependent on your ticket sales. And if you don't, you've got to eat it, which is something very rare when we're talking bowl
But
games. So that is a laughing matter in
here,
itself because it's kind of like they were like they started looking around like, look here, man, I'm gonna give you these 2,500 tickets, man. All right, now look,
now that's
you got
wrong.
this, you got
That's
this. If you don't sell them, man, it's on you. You know, it looked like one of them type deals.
that's why he said it was gonna be a mini series where
Yeah.
no, and you still pay. And if you got to pay your freight, you still paying to go to. You're paying out of your pocket to go to the game.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that the problem of this bowl is:
Devin,
what
turn that down.
what are you playing for? I mean, why is it so important for us to go to see this game? With the Celebration Bowl, they got to pump up because the conferences bought in and had everybody buy in. That the reason being we're going to have
You, 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 you do not listen.
a black college
I
national.
said put this on the charger. My charger's right there. All right.
You know, we're gonna have a black college national champion. So and they put it all in there. Beautiful trophy, everything, and that's what they were playing for. That's why people travel to Atlanta. Am I right, McKee? Because
Oh yes.
that's considered they can say we are national champions, whether it's it is what it is. Now, so with this Florida Beach Bowl, what are you playing for? To be the Florida Beach Bowl champ? What does that mean?
But let's be honest too. Atlanta has a strong
Well,
HBCU base in
No.
history.
But I'm saying they're playing for
With
something. There's something
well,
that
yeah,
they're
and
yeah, yeah.
and
that
that's the
means
D
something.
two. That's the to Ken's point. That's the Division two conundrum too. Even with black college rankings,
Thank you, man.
Division two schools they're never in the top five because, and people have talked about that. You can't claim any national anything in HBCU sports because it's the D2, and then you got the SWAC and the MEAC D1. It's a tough bowls and Division two period has no history of being able to get any traction. And I'm not one to say because it hadn't been done, you should not try. But I think what we are saying on here is you're up against such a tough battle that it's got to be planned and supported airtight, and you have to build in events that surround it that make it added bonuses for non-football fans because the margin of people that know what this game is even about, and we're sitting here trying to figure out what it is. So those two fan bases are very small. They are not the first place teams in their respective conferences.
Right.
There's a mythical nothing on the line. So you got to have the plan has it's got to have some entertainment. You got to have a career fair. You got to bring the high schools out there. I mean, you got to do some things. You got to work for this one.
What's the draw? Right. What is the draw? Why?
Right.
And it ain't and I'm a Christian and everything, but the prayer breakfast ain't gonna bring people. the 5K is not going to bring people. Golf tournament's not going to bring people. That's for your sponsors or for your partners or for the presidents and for everything else. I mean, it's just so what are you playing? What makes how is I'm a John C. Smith, how do I convince my alumni to go to this game and buy the tickets, to spend a lot of money in a very expensive city? Fort Lauderdale is not cheap.
That's true.
I mean, what is the draw? So, because it's South Florida, I guess. I don't know. But I think we lost our host. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. Go ahead, D.
Yeah.
But that's my beef. And now you got to sell 2,500 tickets. And I wish them luck, like you said. I'm rooting for him too, McKee. I am rooting for him too. But it's just games like this or bowl games, that the idea or the concept, you got to start 2 years prior to when you're gonna do it to build that. Amanda is on fire. She is on fire.
Well, now, unless Bishop Juanita Bynum comes and anoints the football. Because prayer does change things. Prayer changes. Save that, and they are pumping that 5K. And here's the thing. I don't want to turn this into a Florida Beach Bowl slam.
No.
We're not the 5K community. Like,
no.
We should be. We should be.
I didn't want to say.
They're pumping that 5K. I'm like, man, you trying to drive people away?
Oh man, I just when they ain't coming for less than 150K.
Well, there goes that. We mean we gotta have prayer to get the prayer? I mean, come on.
That says something. But that says something.
Yeah.
Because if you do get, I'm just not saying one, but I'm like, if you do get somebody to be a draw, you got to promise them something.
Yeah. Well, how about Karen Bynum, her cousin?
There you go.
Come on. I mean, she can come for 500. I mean, come on. We'll pay you on the back end. Come on.
I'm just saying, but to qualify everything, we have, because I hope people, if they do, the Florida Beach Bowl people realize we have been dealing with bowl games and all that stuff. We've seen a lot. We've seen failures. We've seen a lot of failures and a lot of successes. And so don't get us. It's just questions, and maybe y'all have those answers. And that maybe you have the answers and we just don't know about it. I'm just going off of, I've had 2 good sources that told me, and that's the at a football. And that is the main reason why you don't get a Fayetteville State coming, who was a ranked team or whatever, coming to the bowl game. That's why Winston State, who has a great following, isn't coming, because they don't want that commitment. And they ask the question, what are we playing for? What is it? What's the benefit of us coming to this game? And it's so we, like I said, we want you to be successful. Don't get it twisted. It's just we have expertise and we would love to help. We would love to.
And why am I seeing those footlongs in a Circle K on that little thing?
Yeah,
that turns.
Maybe they can get Circle K. Sheets.
And
the sheets.
That elite.
Beach
Can I get sheets? Now, Here and for the viewers,
Got
when
money.
Ken says,
Got money.
"Yeah, we got money," I'm gonna go one step further with what Ken says. I mean, when he talks about history, I mean, we were probably 11, 10, 11 when your dad,
Yeah.
Ken Free, let's take, for example, the Freedom Bowl that he started in Atlanta, Georgia, which showcased the MEAC All Stars versus the SWAC All Stars.
Right.
And we're in a press box with Ambassador Mayor Andrew Young at the
Yeah.
time,
Correct. Yeah.
Coretta Scott King, and
Mm-hmm.
their entourage, and pretty much the SCLC staff leadership.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so we at an early age we saw, and Kenny and Ben saw closer than I did, like literally getting on a plane, getting in his car, and going to Miller Brewing Company,
Right.
going to Delta Airlines, and he didn't
Yeah.
believe in phone calls.
Yeah.
He got in. He would go off on you if you start talking about emailing somebody. If you
Going to
really want
Coca-Cola. Going to Coca-Cola.
going to Coca Cola. So
I mean, it's just
yeah, yeah,
because he knew you needed that prior to get the people there.
right,
And it's just a set. And I just would love the Beach Bowl people to see, like, y'all. I showed y'all the Heritage Bowl when South Florida wanted the Heritage Bowl. What they
right.
did and the packages they put together to make it. This is what we're going. This is what it is. And when you say to a team, we are paying for everything, and this is what you can make, it makes it easier to say yes. Would you agree, McKee? It makes it
I
easy to say, yeah, we'll come.
wholeheartedly agree. And rescue me if I'm wrong, Ken. When I think Heritage Bowl, didn't he start with the Alamo Company, Alamo Car Rental
They
Company?
car,
Weren't they?
they were the car. Yeah, they did all the rentals, and they
Uh
did
huh.
every. It was great how they. And now we're. I got it right. I got it right here. And we're talking what 91, and they're guaranteeing the teams $300,000, and that's at
See, yeah,
91.
it's in '91.
So, and they're guaranteeing them $300,000 in a percentage of the ticket sale. So you
And
can just
yeah,
imagine who wouldn't say yes. Okay, it's worth it to go to this game. I'm going to
yes,
pump up and get the tickets. You should see the events they have scheduled. You should see the sponsor commitments that they already have in place. I mean, it's a whole, and we're talking the old school Joe Robbie Stadium
yeah,
and the luxury boxes they promised them. Everything was laid out. So it's just they had a concert. There was a concert because people were gonna come for the concert, and they had a concert. So it's like
yeah.
it's not. There's a way to do stuff, but you're not gonna tell the team. But there's nothing in that package that says y'all got to sell 2,500 tickets or or you got to eat it.
Right.
The incentive
And,
there, the more money you can make. So
and to that, and just one more quick point.
yeah,
Uncle Kenny, he did a great job. Ken Free, Commissioner Free, he did a great job of aligning a sense of social consciousness, even like to have the civil
yes,
rights brass
yes,
endorse it and to be a part of that game. And Atlanta was coming off of a very tough
yes.
time in their city at that time. So Commissioner Free wanted to do something to pump the city up, to elevate the city's spirit,
Yes.
because that was during the time of the Atlanta child situation,
Yes.
and they
Oh
were
yeah.
low. The spirit was low. So he brings the Freedom Bowl there, and
Around
connects
Dr.
with
King's
a
birthday. Around Dr. King's birthday too. He did it around.
around the King Day, gave all of us a bag full of programs on game day
Right.
to
That's right.
sell,
Yeah.
and we hit Fulton County Stadium and
Oh,
sold those souvenir programs hard. And yeah, yeah,
but that's what you got to do. And it was
And
a
don't
great
forget, let me add this, but don't forget, he was working in partnership with the NFL at that time,
Yes, because
and
it
they
was
sent
an
then
awesome.
who's now the president. I mean, the commissioner Roger Goodell was in a certain position to work with um, these college conferences and
Right,
these games. So our father
Right.
actually met Roger Goodell back in the early '80s,
right, and developed
in
a
forming
friendship
this game
and
and
developed a
working
friendship.
in partnership to get the NFL scouts and get it
Well,
sanctioned.
well, I
So
didn't know
so
they had a combine, Ben. They had a combine that weekend
yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah. So that was all
com-
in partnership.
yeah,
So you had a lot of people that embraced these games, and I think that's the thing that's missed out because we're not seeing, well, how is the city of Fort Lauderdale embracing it? Have they promised funds? What have they done to embrace it? So that's why I say, we might need the president's stuff to be little more clear, forthright on what are the advantages or are there future advantages? Are we
right.
starting this because there'll be guarantees coming once we get it? That's the only thing that's being clear. But I know our time is running low, but I want to make sure D said he got a couple questions. You got anything else, D? I got to get you in here, man.
No. We gonna pick this up next week because this is
Okay.
an
Yeah.
ongoing
Hey,
it's an
Yeah.
ongoing conversation.
Yeah. But jump in there, man. Don't lose it. Hey,
I
jump in there. Hey,
I ain't got no more to.
but as
It is what it
McKee
is.
mentioned, Virginia State shout out. Was there anything else more on Virginia State you wanted to mention about that, McKee? Or
oh, big shout out to my dad and my uncle, Virginia State Trojans. Big shout out to Lieutenant Colonel Jonah McKee up there in Ettrick, Virginia, where he lives in Richmond. But the good people in Ettrick, Virginia, at VSU, doing big things academically, and their infrastructure is very impressive up there. So glad Amanda threw that in there. And let me say this before we go. For future shows, we definitely have to discuss those folks on the Atlantic Ocean, on that southeastern part of Virginia called Norfolk State University
Yes, sir.
Trojans. Many people are calling them a mid-major basketball program. I'm
And
gonna
they have
leave that right there.
a little guard there that I know quite well. That's playing
oh,
for
he coach. There's the ball coach. But yeah,
Jamari
we're gonna
Thomas.
get a
I
little
know
more
that.
into the B ball next week and start getting that sailing because we gotta talk about there's a lot of upsets that's happened once again this season, and we see the field leveling a little bit. So we're gonna get into that. But any final shout outs? Start Ken, you got any final shout out?
I just got one. I know we didn't touch about it. I know it has nothing to do, but with MEAC or anything. But as a coach and as a players, I feel myself that I live for kids and everything. I I'm going to say it, and I don't care if you agree or disagree. What they did to that Florida State football team is a travesty. It's a travesty to football. It's a travesty to coaching. It's a travesty to for kids that you're basically saying games don't matter. Uh, the work those kids did for 13 ball games and to not be rewarded with a chance to win a national championship is a travesty. And I just felt like I had to say it for those kids because I'm just thinking about the kids and what they did. You let Michigan go on after it was proven they cheated, but you just punish the coach, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Don't punish the kids too much, and you let the kids play on, and you let Michigan go on, and then you do this to a Florida State team just because y'all don't have the guts to keep a SEC team out of a playoff. So and that's the bottom line. Period. You can agree, you should agree, you can disagree. I think you're wrong to disagree, but that's my little say. I'm sorry I took a little longer than I wanted to,
No,
but
you all right. And
have
I
Florida State football
just want
team.
to say,
But
ladies,
Ben, you were right. You were right.
the business is bigger than the word show. But ladies and gentlemen, he is no longer Cleveland A. Smith. He is now the Joe Clark of athletics. Give it up. He's about the kid. McKee, you got any final shout out?
They used to call him
Yeah,
Crazy Joe, and now they call him Back
I
Man.
want to say,
There he is.
I want to say to the people of Tallahassee, Florida, and to the Florida State faithful, if you're tired of the NCAA all up in your videos, come to the MEAC.
Come to the
No,
MEAC.
but no, but seriously, I want to give a shout out to. I got a couple. I want to shout out Digging in the Crates podcast. I think he's releasing the show I was blessed to be on. I hope he doesn't play the freestyle that I did. I'm not happy with it. I thought it was a great show, but the freestyle at the end, I am not happy with that freestyle. I want to shout out my WSSU guys, Tony Gunther, Surratt. Yeah, this is a long shout out. I'm doing that, Charlie. And I got to shout out Tony Gunther, Surratt, Pitt. I can't miss any of them. Coach Terrence Graves at Southern. And I want to give a shout out to Charlie Clemens, my old roommate, Brown Hall, WSSU, and the Qs, the Omegas of Davidson County. It was just a great thing to go down there and bowl with them yesterday morning for education. It was just great to see those black men in there rolling that ball for those kids to go to college. Big shout out to them. Big shout out to also, before I go, big shout out to, dang, I had one more. That's it. I'll close it right there since I couldn't remember my last one. And the viewers, man, thank y'all. Thank you,
You,
Amanda.
you
Amanda, let
don't
me
want to
tell
give
you,
a shout out
ESPN
to
needs
Fred
to give you a
Whitfield?
call. ESPN. Yes. But I had to say ESPN needs to call Amanda, but she's with us. She's with us. Big shout out to Fred Whitfield. And there's a connection with this show and Fred Whitfield. Commissioner Ken Free, interestingly enough, was Fred Whitfield's first basketball coach, and he always talks about that. He was the basketball court at Southeast High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. For those who are not in this area, was named after the Charlotte Hornets president, Fred Whitfield, who's the longtime business partner of Michael Jordan, and he has the Achievements Unlimited, now Hoop T Camp, that he gives back to the community every summer. So big shout out to Fred. Ralph Sampson came through, Tori and Hope came through, and the Bam Adebayo crew, Kevin Graves came through, and a ton of other people that may not have household names, but just played big parts in Fred's life and the community. Charles Whitfield, his little brother, brought Lowe's Corporation through there. They gave money to Southeast High School for their infrastructure. So big shout out. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. I almost forgot that.
D Mac,
It's
talk
on
to me.
D.
You got any final thoughts?
D.
Yes, real quick, I want to give a shout out again, going back to Kevin Graves. He was the guest expert speaker for the I Am Dope Leadership Academy this weekend, particularly on personal branding. So I want to thank him for that. But I want to give a special shout out to a Mother's Love group home out of Burlington, North Carolina, for attending. They had 4 young ladies that came on that attended. They did well. They won $25 in the swag box. So want to thank them for coming through. They made it an amazing experience. They helped bring it home, along with the other kids that attended that this weekend. So just want to give a shout out to them.
No doubt.
That's all right.
Hey man, another great show. I want to send a special shout out to Amanda. Thank you for helping us keeping the conversation going.
That's right, Amanda.
And we truly appreciate you. And we know you ain't messing with no Jay Walker, so we ain't worried about that.
Hey,
yes, sir.
But
Amanda, you wrong for that foot long, though. You wrong for that one.
She wrong. She done did a lot of things.
That foot long.
That was wrong.
I can't go.
I can't say she was wrong in her thought, but she wrong for doing it.
But Key, I think she might have been meaning the Subway $5.
That's exactly what you were talking about.
You know, I was.
My bad. I went to Circle K. We were on a Circle K kind of vibe. I'm just saying.
I ain't go front. I was thinking it too.
No doubt. But look, man, we appreciate you, Amanda, and we appreciate everybody who's viewing and continue to share, get the word out, because we gonna keep coming with it. So y'all have a blessed remainder to your evening, and we will see you next week. Peace.